Hello, and welcome to our review of the latest episode of Doctor Who, Demons of the Punjab. And we're going to be starting off with my thoughts first this week. I found this week's episode to be highly emotional. It's an episode that ties in directly with the character of one of our companions for the series. It ties in with Yaz as we go to visit her grandmother in her grandmother's youth, just as she's about to get married, actually. When we first heard about the premise of this, Sean and I's thoughts immediately went back to the few other times that we've had a moment where Doctor Who plotline goes directly into the life of one of its companions. Obviously, one of the most obvious. Obviously. One of the key ones that and really the only one we could think of when it came to New Who was Father's Day. When Doctor Who first came back with Christopher Eccleston, we went back to Rose wanted to go back to see the day her father died. And madness and chaos ensued as a result of the intervention on that. The story itself for Demons of the Punjab was set on the date of the partition of India. And we speculated, how much would that tie into the plot itself? And we vary, so it might not matter at all, it might matter a great deal, who could tell? I know that you were somewhat more speculative in terms of it will most likely feature quite heavily in the story. And, oddly enough, Sean was right on that count. It mattered a huge amount.
Was going off Rosa.
Yeah, it mattered a huge amount.
Although I would say I actually like this episode more than Rosa.
Yeah, this one...
Although it still has problems.
I found this episode a lot more engaging than Rosa. I'll tie that directly into my mum's thoughts on it. My mum, she thought the episode was very good, and she's had a week where she's been watching a lot of things and actually crying quite a bit. And she said, and this episode hasn't helped, and that hasn't helped when it came to this episode. It's a very sad, emotional story for her. And Mum was wondering, maybe that's they timed this one going out on this date, which is of course the 11th of the 11th. It's the centenary of the Armistice Day, and a lot of the programme coverage today's been about that. So it's all very emotional here, particularly on the TV networks right now. And I don't know whether that is the case, because I don't know whether when they're making it, they know when the episodes are going to be broadcast.
Possibly, I don't know. How
they might know, I don't know. I think...
I know how much to the date they know when it's going to be broadcast.
Yeah. I think in any case... And even then, when they're writing the episodes, they probably don't know the broadcast schedule.
They definitely won't know.
No. And obviously the broadcasters, they will decide that later on. And it seemed to fit, and it fit in quite well. It captured the mood, the idea of war, tearing people being sort of torn apart and then having to readjust afterwards. And it was a very strong message of, to use the words of the late Joe Cox, there is more that unites us than divides us, was very much the key message, I would probably say, for this episode. And we've talked about how almost every single episode of Doctor Who this series has had some kind of message. It's had a moral teaching almost. I was engaged with this one a lot more than when we had the previous one that was set quite heavily and focusing quite a lot on a historic moment or period of time. I think mostly because we cared more about the characters of Yaz's grandmother, Umbreen, Prem, Manish, Umbreen's mother. We cared about them. They were written as more engaging characters.
They were written as people.
Yes, exactly.
Rather than, hey, look, guys, it's famous historical person number 433. Look!
Right, yes, as exactly that. These were people who had faults and flaws, but we learned to care about them because we realised they have the same, what their opinions were, what their views were. And you can see bits of yourself in some of them, in elements, and which makes you care about them. Whereas the nature of doing things with historical figures it's a historical figure, you already have a preconception of what they're like. And sometimes you can do interesting things with them. You can make them a fun character still. When we've met historical figures previously, they've had a character, they've had a personality. They've not just been here is this person, and they're going to feature in the episode as this person. When we met Shakespeare, he was a lot of fun. He was, in many ways, a big star, and he was a bit like a rock star in some attitudes. But you learned to care about him, because he was doubtful of his own abilities. When we met Churchill, he was the personality, that sort of grandiose personality of Churchill, always smoking. And to be fair, Churchill's been done so much in fiction, on television and film, that the personality just lends itself to a screen appearance. He is almost a bigger-than-life character, and it works very well. This one was great. They had nice characters. You could connect with them. It was an interesting twist to go with for the aliens. Can't remember what they were called.
Bunch of hippies.
Former assassins. There's something Hive.
Yeah, they were something Hive. I can't remember.
I can't remember. They're
like go call them a bunch of hippies.
The Thijarian Hive, I think, is what they were called. An interesting premise, because when we first get them, the idea of they're demons. They think they're demons. Well, we discover they're not demons. They are, in fact, aliens. They're assassins. They've evolved themselves.
Yeah, I'm questioning exactly how that works.
I am as well. I'm more putting it down to...
This is Star Trek Voyager levels of that's not how evolution works.
My initial thinking on it would be... it's probably the Doctor's use of the terminology, which is even then it's a bit weird, because the Doctor's usually quite specific with terminology. He doesn't tend to sort of make slip-ups.
Mm-hmm.
But I suppose it's the idea of, they're so powerful, because, again, they're described as one of the ancient races, one of the ancient species. They've evolved themselves, meaning they've gone against nature to turn themselves into something. Alright, interesting idea. Evolution doesn't quite work that way. Breeding works that way, but evolution doesn't. Evolution, by its the term of the word is, it's random. It's random mutations. You can't control it. When you control it, that's breeding. That's why you get different breeds of dogs and cattle and sheep and all these other things. You can't force evolution. But these were previously a race who turned themselves into some of the most deadly assassins in the universe. And we've met a few of these most deadly assassins in the universe in Doctor Who.
They're like a trade bean where they go sue each other.
Yeah.
For not, we're the deadliest.
But as it turns out, that race are no longer assassins. They are now custodians of the dead.
A bunch of hippies.
They make sure that people don't die alone. That's now their mission, because they've lost their own planet. Which is, again, it's an interesting angle to take. The idea of it's an interesting version of the sort of hunter turned poacher turned gamekeeper, for lack of a better term for it. I found the episode interesting. The twist, I'm not too sure what I thought of it. In terms of what the aliens were like, obviously it was a case of who the real villain was. No, you could see that a mile off.
Easy, the British. It's just... Sorry.
Right. I mean, it was obvious to see that in terms of, obviously it's going to be the radicalised individual, because it's been
all five of them.
Because it's been referenced throughout the entirety of the episode who it's going to be. And what could add more to the drama than the tragedy of it being the person's brother?
I thought he was going to get shot during the wedding. That's like...
I thought it might have been at some point during the wedding. It's difficult to tell. I thought, no, they won't do it.
It's all going to be slow motion as he falls and everyone screams. But no, thankfully.
But in many ways it was quite like Rosa again. It was different than like what happened with the episode Father's Day. Because Father's Day was the going in ended up creating the incident in the first place. This was a case of they've come in to find out about it, think they're getting involved by interfering, but it turns out they're not interfering. They are once again actually just bystanders to the whole thing. Which was then a very different feel for it. It's once again, they're not doing anything. The doctors and the Doctor and the companions are bearing witness. And they can't do anything about it. They have to let history run its course. We also thought this might have been an episode that we had a bit more development of the character of Yaz.
Can I say one thing? I think her gran got more development than she did.
I will agree with that.
And I thought Yaz episode, man, didn't he do anything? I actually came over her gran as a companion. No offense to
is
Yaz,
interesting.
but her nan's badass.
She's forceful, she's strong-willed, she cares a lot. You feel, I mean, obviously you're going to, but you just feel awful for everything that happens to Umbreen on that day. It is just tragic, the whole thing. Yeah, Umbreen seemed to have a lot more character appearing than Yaz. Yaz went through the standard things that we've seen in previous ones, sort of confusion of, this isn't how it's supposed to be. And as is often the case, whenever you have time travel going into your own timeline, there's always weird moments of, this isn't how it's supposed to be. Back to the Future was literally built on that.
My mum said that when Doctor mentioned about her, whatever she said about getting herself wiped out from time, I went, like Back to the Future.
Yeah.
We need a DeLorean on this.
That's always the easiest. Well, I mean, the Doctor even references that when he in the Shakespeare Code.
Oh.
When because it's the first time Martha's been into the past, she's worried about doing something to erase herself from existence. And the Doctor says it's like Martin McFly in Back to the Future.
Don't get hit on by your own mum.
Yeah,
that's really awkward.
Really weird. Yeah, I mean, I liked the episode as itself. It didn't evoke particularly strong feelings of I loved it, I hated it. It was an emotional episode. It was an interesting take on the story. I'm not really sure what my thoughts on it are in terms of did I like it, did I not like it. I preferred it over Rosa, but I didn't love it. It's not an episode that says, yeah, it was great. A lot of this series is sort of plateauing quite a lot for me. There aren't really episodes that I would say, really, I really liked it, or I really didn't like it, or this was clearly the bad episode for this series. For me, they've all been samey. And compared with some of the Capaldi episodes, when we had a series that was all samey, I was still engaged and I wanted to see where it was going. With this episode, it was more, I want to see what's going, because obviously there are some mysteries going on here. It's what are the Thajarians doing here? What's going on? What does happen? Because, as we've established at the start, there are things going on that Yaz is saying aren't meant to happen. I'm intrigued by the mystery, but I'm not invested, which I think has been one of the problems for a lot of this series of Doctor Who. I'm not invested necessarily in the story or the characters as much as I have been in previous ones. There we go. There's a nice my views for about 10 minutes there. And now over to Sean for Sean's thoughts.
And after that, the weather. But first, a word from our sponsor. No. Okay, first things first. Did Ryan get hit with the idiot stick in this one? The bit in the, say, spaceship, where he was always narrating, it's doing something. When yes, Ryan, I can see it's doing something. You don't need to narrate to me it's doing something. I know, it really annoyed me. Felt like he was less Bradley Walsh in this episode, though. That's an improvement.
Just on the matter of Bradley Walsh's one, he had so much character in this episode.
Bradley Walsh, to be fair, much I dislike Bradley Walsh, I don't dislike, he irritates me. As a man, I'm sure he's perfectly nice in real life. He does have the most personality out of the three companions.
Graham had some wonderful lines. I think part of it is the generational thing. Because he's older, he's often the person who seems to have a very different view compared with Ryan and Yaz, who are obviously a lot younger.
But yeah, Aliens, I think it annoyed me more because this series has been so shite for villains.
Yeah.
They're just like, oh, another one who's not good, they're the good guys, really? I'm like, fucking, they can do Win with the Power of Love. I don't know, it probably wouldn't be annoying me as much if there was at least there's been one decent villain, but, you know.
We've not had any,
it's really in the list of another, like, when you say assassins, like, awesome, assassins. They can teleport. This is going to be great. Okay, no. I mean, they look ridiculous, even by... what were they out...
They reminded me a bit of bats.
Yeah, I'm not sure what
and
they
a bit like spiders.
What is that? And I think the best shot with them was in What's-His-Face's For War flashback, when they were just in the mist.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's a cool shot of them. That should have been the entire episode right there. Something hunting in the mist. Just got to be done before in Doctor Who. Yeah, they look good, but yeah, they don't look good up close, and they were a bunch of hippies. I was like, and there goes the potential spiraling down faster than insert witty metaphor here. So that annoyed me. The mob that came for the house, all 5 of them. I know, I was expecting a bit more of a mob rather than just 5 guys. So budget kind of annoyed me. It wouldn't annoy me, just made me slightly smirk.
It never needs to be that.
It's just like 5 guys. Horse, it's not really. We're all gonna die. I want a proper mob. But again, nothing didn't break the episode. Just made me smirk slightly to myself when I saw it. Other than that, it was alright. I like it better than Rosa, and I think it's because it has characters rather than historical figures in it.
Yeah.
The trouble with Rosa is that it's Rosa Parks, and again, they wheel her out not like as a person, but as a museum exhibit.
As a figure.
Yeah, this is Rosa Parks. She's rather important. Civil rights movements. We've got this here because they were fictional characters, or at least probably semi-realistic. I don't know, based on someone's life experiences somewhere probably. They were allowed to be people, and so you start to care about them. That's where I think it was better. Basically, you can do historical times, but not people. Well, you can do people. It's hard to do people.
If you do historical people, you need to give them personality.
Yes, rather than just here is.
You can't let them stand on their own
Man
merits.
Two
Of
Swords.
they are this person.
Yeah, here's the Man Two Swords of Waxwork, Rosa Parks. Yeah, no. So yeah, so I think it did better. It still was alright. It annoyed me more. I think it's the series is starting to annoy me as a whole now. Bad villains. Doctor doesn't. Actually, the Doctor wasn't that bad in this one. I would give her credit for that. She wasn't completely insufferable like she's been in a couple of the last episodes. You're past the halfway mark, starting to get bored. To be brutally fucking honest. Unless Chris Chibnall pick. Wait, is he right in the next episode?
No. He's.
Oh, he's not doing more after the finale. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is the first time this is also the first time that Chibnall's not had an episode. And weirdly enough, a lot of our complaints we've had with the previous ones in terms of not caring about the characters and things, this is the first one that's corrected some of those issues.
I still wouldn't say Yaz has a character yet.
No. But even in terms of in every single episode of it, so generally, a lot of the time the characters we meet in the episode, we've not had any kind of connection to. This is the first one where we have had a connection to the characters. Because they were written as real people. That there was a greater emotional depth to them. As a result, we felt something for them.
Yeah, they were actually written well. And Chris should stop writing. He should do a George Lucas, write the plot, just not the characters. Yeah, because it's not very good. But yeah, I'll say so. Yaz kind of failed in the character development moment. To be brutally fucking honest. For an episode that was not about her, but it's her family, she didn't really do much.
No.
Just like, it's my gran. Oh, I'm confused.
And I think some of the best
lines... he got shot. And you're like, didn't do anything.
And I think some of the best lines in the episode are probably said by Prem Umbreen.
I like Prem.
Prem was nice.
I like Prem.
I mean, Prem, to be fair, Prem and Umbreen were the focus of the episode.
Yeah.
It's their story. Graham had some nice sort of words of wisdom at various points. Particularly to Yaz, actually, about trying to explain how none of us we're not even really in our own story because we're too busy living it from the inside. That's a nice take on things, the fact that when we tell our story, we tell it from a different perspective that someone else does. I'm not really sure where next week's episode's going.
Kablam.
Which appears to be like an Amazon warehouse.
Awesome.
And it's featuring Lee Mack.
Great. If it's like a small role, it's fine, but if he's going to be in a lot of the episode, I think he's going to
be in a fair bit of the episode.
Someone is going to die.
I like Lee Mack. I like him as a comedian.
Like Lee Mack in full quantities. Him and Bradley Walsh just going to be fucking terrible.
I'm looking forward to it, but I have no idea really what's going on apart from there's something going wrong at Kablam.
Sounds like a kid's game show.
I think it's supposed to be... Well, it's like Amazon, I think. It's a delivery service, because we saw the bit that says, package, delivery for the Doctor. And oddly enough, the episode is called Kablam.
It sounds like a kid's game show.
I think, yeah.
It's a silly episode might be alright. If it goes.
Are you thinking of Kerplunk?
Yeah, but it sounds like on CBBC, a kids' game show with Kablam, and you have to throw pies at your parents or whatever. I don't know. I haven't watched kids' TV in over a decade. It just that has one word title that's got an exclamation mark at the end, just to show you how serious it is. And if it goes for silly and knows it's silly, it's fine.
Yeah.
If it just goes fuck it and just goes, especially after last this episode, you want something a bit silly.
Lighter?
Yeah, lighter and a bit silly to have some fun with.
Because this one was actually really heavy in terms of the emotions and things. It was very strong on that.
I do think it resonated better than Rosa. I said Roma.
Yeah.
And Rosa. Again, because I think we actually gave a crap about the characters, to be brutally honest. Because, they were people. They were having their farm taken away by the 5 guys and the horses.
Not just having the farm taken away, it was the whole nature of the religious tension and differences that had never been a problem before. Suddenly, because of this decision that was being made, they'd all just turned into conflict.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, that's part of as I said, it's part of the underlying message of what the episode was. Again, very close to the surface, right there, what it is. But it seemed to resonate better. It seemed to translate better onto the screen in terms of what that message was, and the emotions and how that was affecting the characters as well. You could see how much it was upsetting for Prem to see his brother like this, because they had so different views, and how as he said, he's not my baby brother anymore. The vast emotional chasm that opened up there between the two of them, compared with Rosa, it was just a very different style of writing of character and a way of delivering the plot.
Heavy-handed.
Yeah, I would say this one was as well.
This one wasn't subtle or cleverly done, but it's the family. You care about the family.
Yeah.
And that's why it works. You go, they're people, and, you like them. You want to see the two of them get married, be happy. You know it's not going to happen, but you want to see it.
Yeah.
Even if you know it's not going to happen. And kind of can't happen, otherwise the whole timeline gets screwed up. So, whereas Rosa was just non-stop about how awesome she was, I'm like, yeah, okay, great, but too much, it just comes across as a tad desperate. But yeah, that's my thoughts. Was alright. Not brilliant, but alright.
Yeah.
Not as bad as the week before. Although the monsters still suck. So, come on.
It's weird how their design is still quite scary looking, even though they've cast
scary at a distance. Up close, they just look ridiculous. Again, that shot in the mist, that was cool. That was creepy, but that's cool. If that was the entire episode, the mist, something in the mist you don't see, that would be cool, but up close they just look. And when they started doing their synchronized hand movements, they got ridiculous as well. That was just like, what is this? Should you come dancing suddenly? I was like... it was awesome for the idea of assassins, and they bolted up again. Seems to be a theme. Awesome idea, and then go, no. Like, great, guys.
Well, we'll see what it's like with next week, because we've got even less of an idea of what's going on. Lee Mack
better be the bad guy. Because, he gets
I think we've got 2 options. Either he's going to be killed off...
Good, early on.
At some point.
Hi, Lee Mack.
Or he'll be the villain, maybe. I would love it if he was the villain, actually.
Do we know what the villain is next week?
No, we don't even
know. Or is it just Amazon in general? It's a concept.
We have no idea what... Aside from something is going on at that place, I can't really recall much from the episode in terms of what's happening.
Like something might possess Lee Mack, although if you want to possess something threatening, Lee Mack is not the option to go for.
What a twist, though, if he's the genius behind something.
Lee Mack and genius now, there's a...
It's not Lee Mack, it's a character being played by Lee Mack.
I've watched... Well, I lied to you.
Not going out?
Not going out. I've watched that. I walk through occasionally. Hear Lee Mack turn around and leave immediately. At least When I Lie to You has David Mitchell. And his rocking beard. think we're done.
I think we are done. So join us next week for when we review Kablam! It has an exclamation point on the end.
I've seen it has. I'm glad it has an exclamation part.
So it's not Kablam, it's Kablam!